Good day or evening, dear participants. In this third lecture of Module 3, we are going to focus on the Design FHL online course, Structure. My name is Mr. Maurice Nkusi. I am the facilitator of this lecture. This lecture is powered by Microsoft Copilot. Let us first introduce this lecture. Our previous lectures reminded us that hybrid learning combines online and face-to-face teaching and learning activities. At the same time, flexibility allows students to choose whether to attend face-to-face or virtual sessions, thus providing a student-directed multimodal learning experience. What does this mean? Students choose to attend and participate in class sessions in person in a classroom-based setting or virtually in person, remotely. It is also worth mentioning that this flexibility keeps students on the same track throughout this learning design. This flexible hybrid learning design, FHLD, is available in synchronous or asynchronous mode, sometimes both, sometimes only one of them. For example, students attending learning in person may be requested to work on some activities outside the classroom at their own pace. The same may apply for those attending classes virtually. When deciding whether or not to offer flexible hybrid classes, it is helpful to understand the values underpinning this flexible hybrid course design approach. In this lecture, we are going to explore the 4 fundamental values that guide the flexible hybrid course design model. 1. Learner choice. 2. Equivalency. 3. Reusability. And 4. Accessibility. This module will explain the basic design principles underpinning this flexible hybrid course design approach associated with the 4 values. We also explore the types of students we have at NUST, their strengths and weaknesses that have the potential to influence the design of the flexible hybrid learning model. Let us briefly identify the types of students at NUST. NUST offers 2 study modes, full-time and part-time, regardless of the student's location. In addition, NUST have 2 types of students, namely 1. On-campus students who can attend face-to-face classes. They stay in the proximity of the university campuses. 2. Off-campus students, distance, who cannot participate in physical face-to-face classes because staying away from NUST campuses. These students may attend virtual synchronous classroom sessions via MS Teams or attend asynchronous classroom through lecture recordings. In the category of off-campus students, some may have challenges to access virtually classes in a regular basis, and also the online resources made available to them due to internet connection challenges or unreliable electricity, etc. In this case, offline quality learning resources should be offered to them to accommodate them fully for their successful learning experiences. Strengths and weaknesses of students at NUST. This section will discuss some of the strengths and weaknesses students experienced in the flexible hybrid learning model. Strengths 1. On-campus students receive the same support services from the lecturers teaching the courses in the registered programs. 2. Students are flexible about attending face-to-face or remote classes, whether in person or virtually. 3. Students can participate and engage in the learning activities as they can access resources anytime and from anywhere. 4th, students can learn at their own pace with the support of the lecturers, tutors, providing personalized learning where possible. 5. Students are flexible to take a full or half load of courses as prescribed by the curriculum, even though they are far away from the campuses offering the program they registered in. 6. Recorded lectures and other asynchronous course materials can be repurposed by the students for future use. Weaknesses. 1. Requires time management skills, especially when students have low personal motivation to learn the required content offered in courses that they are not personally interested in. Maybe distracting and non-educational options to spend time are likely to continue increasing in students' lives, further competing for their cognitive engagement. 2. Personal and technical resources are required to participate in the virtual classes, such as mobile devices, laptops, smartphones, iPad, etc., computers, internet, etc. 3rd, technical ability to engage in online learning platforms and to learn through mediated experiences is needed. Requires self-discipline in online participation when in-class participation is not possible or desired. 5. Non-residential students sometimes feel disconnected or overlooked from the face-to-face class and may need to learn more by making extra effort. 6. The student's academic success requires the university's commitment to acquiring relevant technologies for teaching and learning, and provides support both to students and academics to reduce technical challenges. Now let us see the instructional design model based on 4 key values. In the context of NUST, hybrid flexible design has 4 key values that may be instrumental to the success of the model. 1. Student choice. 2. Parity, equivalency. 3. Adaptability, reusability. And 4. Accessibility. The specification of fundamental values is crucial because they provide a solid and consistent foundation for lecturers and instructional designers in developing the learning processes and instructions. In addition, these values serve as a guide for setting learning and instructional goals based on the course's learning outcomes, which then direct the selection of appropriate instructional strategies and specific activities to be implemented. For example, the value of student choice can lead to a goal. Students will have the option to participate in a specific learning activity in either a classroom or a virtual environment based on their circumstances and preferences. This goal can then inform the selection of instructional strategies, such as providing a complete set of in-class and online activities for every class session. Specific learning activities are then developed to support these strategies, including interactive, collaborative group discussions in the classroom and corresponding online discussion exercises for virtual students. Comprehensive design guidance should also consider specific contextual factors that can promote effective instruction. Let us explore the value model. At NUST, the value model is expressed in value, and its principles are as follows. 1. Student choice. Provide multiple options for class participation and allow students to select their preferred and consistent mode of participation. The primary motivation for adopting a hybrid flexible course design is to offer students the flexibility to choose how they engage in course activities on a weekly or topical basis. In this case, choosing to implement this principle requires a well-thought process where students will decide based on their circumstances, and the lecturer will accommodate these choices, highlighting the best way of learning. 2. Parity, equivalency. Ensure that the learning activities provided in all participation modes result in comparable learning achievements. Nevertheless, it is essential to note that equivalency does not necessarily imply equality, even though this is an ultimate goal. For instance, online learning experiences such as asynchronous discussions may not be as socially interactive as classroom-based discussions. Nevertheless, in both cases, students must be prompted to contemplate the learning content, contribute their evolving thoughts to the debate, and engage with their peers' ideas. Providing equivalent learning experiences across different modes that lead to comparable learning achievements may be challenging in the hybrid flexible model implementation, but possible. 3. Adaptability, reusability. Use, reuse, and adapt, where required, the educational materials generated in every participation mode as learning objects for all students. Numerous classroom activities can be captured and presented online to accommodate remote students. Such representations include podcasts, video recordings, discussion notes or transcripts, presentation files, and handouts. These materials are valuable for online and in-class students who may wish to review them later. Similarly, the activities accomplished by online students, such as chats, asynchronous discussions, file postings, and peer reviews, can serve as meaningful learning aids for in-class students and useful review materials for remote students. Additionally, some learning artifacts, such as glossary entries, bibliographic resources, and topical research papers, may be permanent learning resources for all students in current or future courses. 4. Accessibility. Provide students with the necessary technical competencies and fair access to all modes of participation. Ensuring accessibility is a crucial factor that requires making all course materials and activities accessible and functional for every student. It involves providing text transcripts or closed captions for audio or video recordings where relevant. Also, making web pages and learning management systems accessible ensure that online discussions are friendly and designed. Let us reflect now. This lecture covers the aspects of planning of the Flexible Hybrid Learning (FHL) model at NUST, highlighting 4 key values: student choice, parity, adaptability, and accessibility, and discusses 2 types of students, on-campus and off-campus, their strengths, flexibility, access to resources, personalized learning, and weaknesses, time management, technical needs, and self-discipline. Now, what questions should we start asking ourselves? What comes to my immediate thinking is: 1. How does the value of student choice in the flexible hybrid learning model at NUST may impact on student engagement and learning experience? Provide specific examples of how having multiple participation options can influence their approach to the courses they are engaged with. 2. In what ways do the principles of parity and adaptability contribute to achieving comparable learning outcomes in both on-campus and off-campus settings? Reflect on any challenges you may foresee and how they can be addressed through these principles. 3. How can the accessibility measures implemented in your course facilitate your students' learning process? Discuss any specific resources or strategies that can be particularly beneficial to your students. Reflect in writing on these 4 questions using the Gibbs Reflective Cycle Guide, which will be shared with you in this module. Compile your reflection in the e-journal available within the e-learning platform in use in this self-paced online course. Share your reflections with your colleagues at work and also share them on the community of practice space, which will be shared with you. In conclusion, in this lecture, the focus is on the design of the Flexible Hybrid Learning (FHL) online course structure. The lecture emphasizes the integration of online and face-to-face learning, allowing students the flexibility to choose their mode of participation. It begins with an introduction to the historical context and values of hybrid learning, underscoring the importance of flexibility, equivalency, reusability, and accessibility. The lecture also provides a brief overview of NUST's student demographics, identifying on-campus and off-campus students, and the specific challenges they face. Additionally, it discusses the strengths and weaknesses of students within the FHL model, such as the necessity for self-discipline and access to technical resources. Central to the lecture is the instructional design model grounded in 4 key values: student choice, equivalency, reusability, and accessibility. Strategies for implementing these values in a hybrid flexible course design are also explored, aiming to enhance learning outcomes and offer a comprehensive education experience for all students. This summary encapsulates the essential aspects of designing an effective FHL online course, ensuring that every student receives a quality education regardless of their chosen mode of participation. If you have any questions or challenges, please use the discussion forum named Questions and Answers of Module 3 to ask questions and answer other participants' questions as well. Thank you for your attention.